Hey, welcome. So today, we're going to dive into a totally different kind of story about the universe. This isn't about physics or cosmology. Nope. This is a metaphysical journey. A story about how one single thought created everything and kicked off a grand plan for all of us to wake up. Let's get into it.
So, let's just start with this one question, just to get us thinking. What if the Big Bang wasn't a bang? What if the origin of everything we see, everything we are, wasn't some massive explosion, but something quieter? Something as simple as a fleeting thought. I know, it sounds a little out there, but just stick with me on this.
To get this, our story has to start before the beginning. I'm talking before stars, before galaxies, before the very concept of time even existed. In this pre-beginning, there was just oneness. You can think of it as a single, unified mind. It was perfect, whole, eternal. And according to this story, within this mind, God and His creation, which is called the Sun, were totally one. There was no you, no me, no separation at all. Just pure, unbroken being.
But then, into this perfect, peaceful oneness, a thought just flickered for a second in the mind of the Sun. The source material calls it a tiny, mad idea. It was just a little flicker of curiosity, a what if. What would it even be like to be separate, to experience something other than total unity?
And right there, that one tiny what-if thought, that was the Big Bang. In one single instant, the entire universe of past, present, and future sprang into existence, not as a physical reality, but as a kind of projected dream. That feeling of oneness just seemed to shatter into billions and billions of tiny fragments, and each one of those fragments now believed it was completely separate and all alone.
Okay, so if the universe is really just a dream that we're all having, how did that one thought create this incredibly convincing illusion that we all experience as reality every single day?
Well, that one thought basically created two completely opposite ways of seeing everything. On one side, you've got reality. That's our true home, our true state, and it's all based on oneness and love. But on the other side, you've got the illusion. This is the temporary dream world, and it's built on a foundation of separation, fear, and a brand new identity we all adopted called the ego.
So how did this illusion get so powerful? Well, it all started because that tiny idea of being separate was taken seriously. That created this deep feeling of sin, like we'd actually done something wrong by separating from perfection. And that sense of sin led to this profound, unconscious guilt. That guilt was so unbearable that it had to be pushed away, projected outwards, and it became what we experience as fear. And that fear is what created the world we see, a world of defense, attack, and constant conflict. So what exactly is the ego in this story? It's way more than just being arrogant or having a big head. The ego is the part of our mind that was literally born from that first thought of separation. Its only job, its entire purpose, is to keep this dream going. It's the voice in our head that insists, no, this is all real, you really are separate, and you are definitely guilty.
But, and this is a huge but, the story doesn't end there, in the nightmare. Because at the exact same moment the dream of separation began, a kind of failsafe was activated. A plan was set in motion to wake us all up.
You see, the very instant that tiny, mad idea popped up, the source says the answer was given right alongside it. A memory of the truth, a memory of reality was placed in all of our minds. It's this perfect, incorruptible link back to oneness. And this answer is always there, constantly reminding us, whispering to us, that this dream isn't real, the sin never actually happened, and that in the end, only love is real.
And this answer, this call to wake up, has been echoing all through our long, collective dream of history. We've seen messengers appear in all kinds of different times and places to remind us what we really are. From figures like Krishna and the Buddha to Jesus, and even in modern spiritual teachings. They all carried the exact same core message, just in different words. Wake up. This isn't your real home.
Now, this particular story puts a special focus on one of those messengers, Jesus. But he's presented in a really different light, not as a sacrifice for our sins, but as the ultimate teacher who came to deliver the most direct, powerful lesson for how to wake up. From this point of view, the crucifixion gets completely reframed. It wasn't about paying for a sin that, from reality's perspective, never actually happened. Instead, it was a planned demonstration. It was a final lesson to show all of us, once and for all, that the body, and this world of attack, pain, and death, it has absolutely no power over who we really are, our eternal, invulnerable mind.
This is really the heart of his lesson. He forgave his attackers. Why? Because he knew they were just figures in a dream. You can't really be harmed by an illusion. By choosing to respond with love instead of fear, he proved that our true identity is not of this world. And this is the key. Forgiving the world is how we prove to ourselves that it isn't real.
So this leads to a very, very specific idea of what forgiveness is. It's not about pardoning someone for something real they did to you. It's a much more radical idea. It's the realization that the thing you thought happened never actually happened in reality. It was just a scene in the dream. So forgiveness becomes this incredibly powerful tool for waking ourselves up from the illusion. And that brings us to the very end of the story. If the entire universe began with just a thought, how does the whole dream finally end?
It's not going to be some big, dramatic, physical event. No big crunch, no final explosion, nothing like that. The end of the universe, in this telling, is actually a very quiet, gentle thing.
And here it is. This is the final moment. The universe just disappears when the one sun, that's all of us together, finally remembers the truth. We'll look back at that tiny, mad idea of wanting to be separate, and we won't feel guilt or fear. We'll just laugh. We'll laugh with relief when we realize it was all just a dream we were taking way, way too seriously.
So, we end right back where we started, with a thought. If this story has it right, and our true home, reality itself, is really just a change of mind away, it kind of leaves us with one pretty big question, doesn't it? What are we waiting for?